The FFA Chapter Tribute is sponsored by Nationwide, the #1 farm insurer in the country. To register your FFA chapter, go to nationwidesupportsffa.com. That's nationwidesupportsffa.com. Nationwide, we stand for you.
As we continue our chapter spotlight into the national officer team this week, we are talking to the big dog, Doster Harper, the current president of the national FFA team. Doster, you were elected at the first virtual FFA convention in history. Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Yes, sir. It was very hard to describe. It was a surreal moment. I wasn't expecting to have my new jacket presented to me there at the election. That was the coolest surprise of it all. But just to be there surrounded by my family at that virtual announcement was really cool. That's something that no other candidate has ever gotten in the past before. And to be surrounded by the folks who got me there and sacrificed so much for me, and just to be able to embrace them as soon as the announcement was made, was a special moment that I'll never forget for sure.
It's different, but it's still special. And I think that's something that applies to a lot of different things this year. Doster, one of the things that the national FFA team does is travel around the country. You work with chapters all over the place. This year, that's going to be a challenge. Have you guys discussed how you're going to handle the outreach aspects of your work?
We have, just a little bit. And to be frank, it's still pretty unknown right now. We're getting to Indianapolis the first week of January, so our team will actually be able to be together in person in Indianapolis starting in January. We're going to go through about a month to 2 months of training. And so we're hoping by the end of our training, things will be loosened up a lot more and we'll be able to travel beginning by then. But we'll still see. We're still hoping to engage with a lot of chapters virtually, even though we won't be able to travel. But typically the national officer team will spend about 300 days on the road. It doesn't look like we'll get to be able to travel that much. But we are hoping that by the end of February, once we're done with all our training, things will be loosened up a lot more. The pandemic will be loosened up over the summer, and we'll be able to get out on the road and be with students in person.
That is fantastic. Doing things virtually, of course, has been an ongoing theme for the past 8 months. And when we think of ag classes, a lot of the work that those advisors do needs to be in person. It's a hands-on type of activity. I was talking to an advisor, and he said teaching welding virtually can be quite a challenge. What have you heard? How are chapters making this adaptation for this crazy year?
Right. I think a lot of chapters are getting into that virtual mindset and engaging a lot of virtual chapter meetings. I know the Locust Grove FFA chapter here in Georgia has done a great job with virtual meetings because, they talked about it allows them the opportunity to have guest speakers from all across the country who might not even be able to come to their chapter meeting in person, which is a really cool thing. I think they had like a Lamaze instructor from California or something zoom into one of their chapter meetings, because that's a cool opportunity that they have. And then a lot of other chapters are still being able to do in-person projects outside of the classroom, socially distanced, because the beauty of agricultural education, it is in a way set up for in-person instruction during a pandemic, because supervised agricultural experiences for students are a project that's required, and it's required to be done outside of the classroom, which allows for social distancing in itself. And so a lot of chapters are able to still maintain those projects in the field or in the barn while maintaining a 6-foot distance from each other and still being able to be safe while they're doing it as well.
It's incredible the way advisors across the country have met these challenges and found creative ways to overcome them. And I want to ask you about the overall health of the organization after this crazy year. What does membership look like in 2020, 2021?
Membership is just over 750,000 right now, and we're still climbing. Agricultural education is moving towards 100% affiliation with National FFA, meaning that soon in the next couple of years, we hope that every single agricultural education student in the country will be affiliated and thereby an automatic member of National FFA. So we're at about 760,113 students right now. And we know that there are over 1 million agricultural education students enrolled in an agricultural education class in the country. So we're hoping we'll get above that 1 million mark here in the next couple of years. But we're sitting pretty well right now at above 750,000 and still climbing for sure.
That's fantastic. And Doster, of course, you are currently a college student. After you complete your year of service and you finish up with college, what does the future hold for you?
Yes, sir. I'm a third-year student at the University of Georgia right now, studying agri-science and environmental systems. But I'm also an Army ROTC cadet at the University of Georgia. So I've got a 100% guaranteed job when I graduate. I'll be commissioning into the Army as a second lieutenant. I'm extremely excited for that. I'm looking forward to that opportunity, and I'll look and see. My scholarship says I got to serve for 4 years, but after that, hopefully I'll get to study some crop science.
Fantastic. Well, Doster Harper, thank you so much for your service, both to the National FFA and to the country as you go forward into the future.